Welcome to the Box Score Sports Podcast.
Yes.
Okay, what was your good for week 9?
I'm going to give the Chargers one.
Oh, you stole mine. I have the Chargers written down, but go ahead.
I almost put them in my great, but they're 5-3. They get a good. They scored relatively easy on a good Chargers defense. I mean, a good Browns defense, especially the Browns are usually good at home. But they just get the good. They look like a pretty complete team. They've let Herbert throw it more. I think he's over 30 attempts a game the last 3, which is kind of a change from what you expect from a Harbaugh offense. But I think they realize just how good Justin Herbert is. And with the Chargers, it just goes to show how important having a good coach is. I mean, This team is probably less talented than when they had Staley for those years. But they play with purpose. They know what they're doing. And they just throttled the Browns. I mean, any weakness that we know Jameis Winston has that sometimes he can overcome. I mean, they took advantage. Would they have 8 sacks in that game? 6 or 8 sacks? Something that they just controlled that whole game.
Yeah, and I thought Herbert is starting to look more and more comfortable in that offense every week. I feel like the last couple weeks he's been kind of coming into his own under that offense. And that's why this offseason I was like, I think Jim Harbaugh is going to Jim. I thought he was going to change it. I thought their defense was going to be really good because it's just like coaching makes such a huge difference when you go from a bad coach to a really good coach. They're just going to get the most out of the players and it's going to look different. It kind of reminds you a little of like Brian Flores being the defense coordinator for the Vikings and how even though last year they weren't like the best defense, they were dramatically better than they were the year before. So I'm just saying, like, I think this is a case and study. Like, we just got to remember that coaching does matter. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. It just having a plan in a set thing, even if they're not the most talented team, but they figured out what they have. They're, running through Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, they're injury prone, but they're getting the best out of it. And I believe I picked them as a playoff team or maybe just on the bubble, but they look part of that, especially the way the AFC is going.
Right. Correct. So that's one of those teams that the Bengals will be fighting for that spot for. So my good, well, let's see here. I got some notes here. I'll just pick, I guess I could give it to the Ravens. I just feel like they kind of deserve a grade if you're going to put them in any category. They like stomped the Denver Broncos. So I don't want to give them a good because it's kind of a slap in the face, in my opinion. Maybe I'll give it to the Minnesota Vikings. A big win after coming off of 2 losses. I think that's kind of important. Sam Darnold played good enough. And, he kind of has come down to earth a little bit. Jefferson showed up, but that defense is still top notch when it's at its best. So I'll give the good to the Minnesota Vikings and pulling out a win on Sunday night.
Yeah. If you're not, I mean, Joe Flacco's an experienced quarterback, but he can't move.
Correct.
And in quarterbacks like that, the way Flores plays defense just eats them up. And the Colts defense isn't that great either, but again, sometimes it comes down to matchups, and at least Sam Darnold recovered a little, so I can keep my Sam Darnold slander go. I mean, my
love for Sam Darnold.
Your hype. I was nervous after he threw that pick to start the game. I was like, okay, come on, don't totally fall apart yet. But yeah, the Vikings are a good team, and when they cut down on the turnovers, I mean, that was a close game, but they moved the ball up and down the field. So it looks closer than it was, but it was a good win. They needed that.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. Let's see. Let's go to our bad. What was your bad for week 9? Thanks so much for watching this clip of the Box Score Sports Podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to our channel. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter or X. And we'll talk to you guys real soon. See ya.